Food production. Learning objectives. Agricultural practices. Crops. Crop production methods. Soil fertility enhancement. Protection of crops from pests. Harvesting, threshing, winnowing and storage. Crop improvement. Nitrogen cycle. Food from animals. Ancient man used to wander from place to place in search of food and shelter, soaking seeds, then take care by proper irrigation, pest control, plucking and collecting grains or other useful material with proper storage is complete agricultural practice. The discovery tells that plants can be grown to obtain food grain was accidental. Primitive man noticed that seeds falling on the soil started germinating and grew into plants. This led to the beginning of the cultivation of plants to obtain food. It was found that water was essential for the growth of plants, so agriculture was usually practiced near water bodies such as rivers, lakes, etc. Thus, man became a food grower from a food gatherer and settled down to farming. Agricultural practices. In India today, more than 75% of the people are engaged in agriculture. Due to scientific methods, the food production in recent years has increased tremendously by adopting a scientific progression such as use of good quality seeds, use of modern agriculture equipments and machinery, such as tractors, threshers, harvesters, etc., good quality manures, fertilizer and pesticides, reliable weather forecasts. In our country, the advancement in agriculture has been brought about by the Green Revolution initiated in the 1960s. Agriculture. Sowing seeds in a land. Crop field sugarcane. Workers picking tea leaves from field. Crops. The plants which are grown and tended in a field for human consumption are called crop plants or crops. All of us consume agricultural products such as rice, wheat, maize, etc. in our daily meals. These constitute the crop plants as cereals, pulses, sugarcane, fibers, etc. Cereals provide us with vital nutrients such as carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals and fibers. The cereal which is consumed on a large scale in a particular region is called the staple food of the region. For example, the staple food of South India is rice, while that of North India is wheat. Other food crops include pulses which are rich in proteins, oilseeds which are sources of fats, root crops and tuber crops which are edible raw materials and provide essential nutrients. Cereals. Oats, wheat grain, rice, oilseeds, peanut seeds, mustard seeds. Sugarcane crop, it is the source of sugar and jaggery. Plantation crop, the crops known as plantation crops are grown on a large scale for commercial purposes. For example, coffee, tea, rubber, etc. Fiber crops, the plants which yield fibers to make clothes and other woven products, such as cotton, jute, coir, etc. Plantation crop. Cotton plant. Classification of crops. Crops are classified into two main groups according to the season on which they are grown. 1. Rabi crops. These crops are grown during the winter season and harvested in the summer. These include wheat, barley, lentil, mustard and gram. 2. Kharif crops. These crops are grown during the monsoon season and harvested in September to October. They include maize, bajra, groundnut, cotton. Horticulture. A very important applied branch of agriculture is horticulture. Hortus means garden, and culture is cultivation. Horticulture is a branch of agriculture that deals with the production of vegetables, fruits, flowers and decorative plants. It is similar to agriculture in many ways but is usually carried out on a small scale. Rabi crops. Kharif crops. Agricultural implements. The tools which are used in the cultivation of plants are known as agricultural implements. Some of these tools are used manually, whereas others are used with the help of some domestic animals like bullocks and camels. These days, tractors and combine harvesters are being used by the farmers. Crop production methods. Modern agriculture is carried out in a scientific and systematic way, so as to achieve the maximum possible produce per hectare of the land tilled. For healthy grown and good output, crops require oxygen, sunlight, water and nutrients before proper growth and protection from weeds, pests, and proper storage after harvesting. Sunlight and air are abundantly available if the crop fields are open. For other requirements, farmers have to make special efforts. The various methods deployed by farmers are given below. Plowing field. Preparation of soil. The top fertile layer of the earth's crust which supports the plants is called the soil. The soil consists of various sizes of sand, clay, gravel, stones, microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, etc., earthworms, air, water and humus, dead and decaying organic matter. The preparation of soil includes two main tasks. 1. Plowing or tilling. This involves the loosening up or turning up of soil. This process has a number of advantages. The loosened soil is able to hold more water, which helps in the respiration of roots. When the soil is loosened, the roots of plants penetrate easily to deeper layers of soil, thus anchoring the plant firmly in the soil. Loose soil also helps in the growth of microorganisms and other organisms, as they help in the decomposition of plant and animal remains as well as in further loosening the soil. It is easier to mix fertilizers in loose soil. Plowing is done with the help of a wooden or iron plow or by tractors. 2. Leveling. It is the process of making the soil surface even. It is done with the help of a wooden or iron leveler. Leveling ensures uniform irrigation and distribution of minerals in the field and thus helps to prevent soil erosion. Levelers. Wooden leveler. Iron leveler. Sowing. When the preparation of the soil is complete, seeds are sown. It is the important process. The sowing of seeds should be done by taking the following precautions. 1. The seeds should be of good quality. They should be healthy, disease-resistant, etc. A farmer sowing seeds. 2. The seeds should be sown at the right depth. If sown at greater depths, the seeds will not get sufficient air for respiration, and on germination, the shoots will not be able to come out of the soil layers. 3. There should be sufficient water in the soil to allow the germination of seeds. The soil should not be waterlogged, as this too will inhibit the process of germination of seeds. 4. There should be proper spacing between the seeds so that there is less competition for water, nutrients and sunlight. On the other hand, if the seeds are widely spaced during sowing, a large amount of field space is wasted. Sowing can be done manually or with the help of seed drills. The process of sowing seeds manually in the field is called broadcasting. Using a seed drill. This is a better method than broadcasting, as the seeds are sown at the proper distance and depth, and thus are not eaten up or destroyed by animals. A seed drill has a funnel-shaped opening into which the seeds are put. Seed driller. Transplantation. In the case of some plants, they are not directly sown in the field, but are sown in nurseries. When the seedlings attain a particular height, they are transplanted to the fields. Farmers select healthy seedling for transplanting. This ensures a good crop production. Irrigation of crop. Water is very essential for the growth of plants. Rainfall is the chief and most natural supply of water. But rainfall does not occur throughout the year. We get rains only during the monsoon months. During other seasons, stored water from ponds, lakes, tanks, wells, reservoirs and canals is supplied to crop. This method of supply of stored water for cultivation of crops is called irrigation. The frequency of irrigation varies from crop to crop. Irrigation. Excessive supply of water to crops reduces air in the soil spaces. As a result, roots get damaged. It causes waterlogging. To prevent the damage to soil, extra water is drained out. Sometimes strong winds accompanied by rains result in the fall of crop plants at the grain maturation stage. It is called lodging. Fields are irrigated before sowing. In sandy soil, more water is required since it percolates. Crops are grown according to their water requirement and the nature of the soil. There are 4 methods of irrigation, each suited for a specific type of crop. They are: crop lodging. 1. Check basin method, for crops such as maize, wheat, jowar, bajra, pulses, paddy and oilseeds. 2. Ridges and furrows method, for crops such as cotton, sugarcane, sunflower, tomato, potato and chilies. 3. Sprinkler system, for crops such as coffee and fodder crops. 4. Drip irrigation, for orchards cultivating mango, guava, citrus fruits, banana, pomegranate and coconut. Check basin irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, drip irrigation. Soil fertility enhancement. The methods which help in increasing the soil fertility or manuring, enriching the soil with nutrients are: addition of manures and fertilizers, crop rotation, mixed cropping, field fallowing, weeding. Sci facts. When soil is fit for seed germination, it is called its fertility. Manuring. Manures are the organic substances which are obtained by the decomposition of plant and animal wastes. There is a gradual loss in soil fertility due to repeated cultivation of crops in the field. This deficiency of soil nutrients can be overcome by adding manures and fertilizers to the soil. Manuring. Manures are prepared naturally in the field itself. The manure, which is formed by the decomposition of both plants and animal wastes, is called compost. Compost forming. A pit is dug in the soil. Plants and animal wastes are buried in the pit with alternating layers of soil. The pit is covered by using dried leaves, straw, etc. at the top and left for a few months. Compost is formed by the decomposition of the organic material in the pit by bacteria, fungi and other microorganisms. Compost is rich in organic nutrients but is deficient in certain important nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, etc. This is the reason why chemical fertilizers are needed to enrich the soil. Fertilizers. Fertilizers are man-made mineral salts which are rich in specific nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, etc. Fertilizers are available in solid and liquid forms. Fertilizers. Some examples of commonly used fertilizers are: A. Nitrogenous fertilizers, urea, sodium nitrate and aluminum sulfate. B. Phosphatic fertilizers, ammonium phosphate, superphosphate. The application of fertilizers in large amounts is detrimental to the soil. Let us look at some disadvantages of using fertilizers. 1. They make the soil non-porous. 2. When these fertilizers reach water bodies through irrigation water or by rainwater, there is an increase in the growth of algae. As a result, the oxygen level of water decreases and a large part of the aquatic life is destroyed. 3. Fertilizer industries also cause water pollution by introducing toxic wastes in the water bodies, making water unit for use by living organisms. Crop rotation. Growing leguminous crops alternately with another crop plant to prevent the depletion of a specific nutrients from the field is called crop rotation. Crops such as wheat and rice, which use up large quantities of nitrogen from the soil, can be grown alternately with groundnut or soybean, which fix atmospheric nitrogen in the soil. When the soil is enriched with nitrogen due to the growth of legumes, the next crops such as wheat and rice can absorb the nitrogen for thick growth. Thus, crop rotation is a natural way for replenishing nitrogen in the soil. Crop rotation. Mixing cropping. The growing of two or more crops simultaneously in the same field is called mixed cropping. The crops are chosen in such a way that the product and wastes of one crop may be used for the growth of the other crop. For example, cotton and groundnut may be sown simultaneously in one field, as one is a leguminous crop which fixes nitrogen while the other utilizes the same. Mixed cropping. Field fallowing. In this method, the field is left without the cultivation of any crop for some time. As a result of the decomposition of plants and animal remains, the soil regains the lost nutrients and is thus enriched naturally. In the next season, the crop may be cultivated in the field. Field fallowing. Weeding. Weeds are the undesirable plants that grow along with the main crop plants, sown in the fields and compete for space, food, air and sunlight. The growth of weeds in field retards the crop growth. Weeds differ from field to field and from season to season. The process of the removal of the weeds from the field is called weeding. Weeding. Methods used for removal of weeds. Manually, by pulling them out with hand, or removing them by using a trowel, khurpi, or harrow. By application of weedicides, the chemicals which destroy the weed in the field are called weedicides. Weedicides are sprayed using a sprayer. The weedicides are specific in their action as they destroy only the weed and not the crop plants. Protection of crops from pests. The organisms which attack the crops and damage them are called pests. The most common pests which attack the crops and grains are as follow. 1. Insects such as locusts, weevils, aphids, termites, etc. The locusts fly in swarms and destroy the crop by damaging the leaves of crop plants. Insects such as stem borer dig holes in the stem, thus destroying the tissues inside. Aphids suck the sap of the phloem and damage the vascular tissue. 2. Rodents such as rats eat the grain produced. The crops can be protected by killing the pests using special chemical called pesticides and insecticides. The pesticides kill pests as well as their eggs without affecting the plant's growth. The pesticides should be sprayed at an appropriate time in the life cycle of the pests, thereby controlling hand harvester thresher winnowing. Storage their population. The pesticides are sprayed with manually operated pumps or with low-flying aircraft in the case of large fields. Common examples of pesticides are malathion, BHC or dicystin. Spraying pesticides. Harvesting. Once the crop matures, it is harvested, i.e. cut and gathered. This may be done by hand, using a sickle, or using a machine called harvester. Special festivals are celebrated in the harvest season such as Baisakhi, Pongal, Bihu, Nabanya, and Holi. Threshing. The process of separating grain from the plant stalk is called threshing. It is done in the following ways. Manually by making the oxen or buffalo trample the cut crop. It can be done by a machine called thresher. A combine may also be used for threshing. Winnowing. The process of separating the grain from the chaff is called winnowing. Winnowing is done with the help of the wind. Wind carries the particles leaving behind the grain. Hand harvester. Thresher. Winnowing. Storage. Proper storage of the grains is of highest importance in food production and management. In India, agriculture depends on good monsoon. In the event of poor monsoon or drought in a particular year, people may starve to death due to shortage of food grains if a sufficient stock of food grains is not maintained. We have Food Corporation of India, a government body which purchases food grains from farmers on the arrival of fresh crops and stores in the godowns. The following precautions should be taken for the storage of food grains. 1. The grains should be dried properly before storage to prevent the growth of microorganisms on them. 2. Should ensure that the godowns are free of insects, rodents and microorganisms by spraying appropriate insecticides and rodenticides. 3. The dried grains, packed in bags of jute sacks stacked properly in godown and silos, should be periodically inspected to ensure that they are not attacked by insects, microbes or rodents. This stock of grains is called the butter stock. Gunny bags. Sci facts. In India, in the drought years of 1986 and 1987, millions of people were saved from starvation due to 25 million tons of buffer grain which was available in the country. Crop improvement. As the population of the country is increasing day by day, more food is being demanded in high quality. Therefore, ways and means are being developed to achieve more food grains per hectare of land. Several advanced technologies and strategies are being utilized to achieve higher food production, which are as follows. 1. More land has been brought under cultivation. 2. Increased and better production of manures, fertilizer, pesticides etc. 3. Use of modern and sophisticated machine for harvesting, threshing, etc. 4. Use of better methods of irrigation. 5. Use of high-yielding and disease-resistant varieties of crops. Hybridization. It is the process of crossbreeding between two plants, having desirable characteristics to produce a superior variety to crop. The crossbreeding technique. The following steps are involved in the crossbreeding of two plants. 1. Plants having desirable characteristics are first selected. 2. In the case of bisexual flowers, the anthers are removed using forceps to prevent fertilization within the same flower. 3. After a few days, the polled grains from a desirable variety of the plant are transferred to the stigma of this antherless flowers. 4. After pollination and fertilization of flower, seed generated are called crossbred and property of 2. 5. This crossbred variety is called hybrid. Nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is the most abundant element in our atmosphere, but why is it important? Nitrogen is a vital component in the production of protein. Protein is one of the nutrients that plants and animals need to grow, survive and reproduce. Air, which has 79% nitrogen gas, N, is the major reservoir of nitrogen. But most organisms cannot use nitrogen in this form. Plants must secure their nitrogen in fixed form, i.e., incorporated in compounds such as A. Nitrate ions, NO3. B. Ammonia, NH3. C. Urea, NH2CN2. Animals secure their nitrogen and all other compounds from plants or animals that have fed on plants. 4 processes participate in the cycling of nitrogen through the biosphere. Nitrogen fixation, decay, nitrification, denitrification. Microorganisms play major roles in all 4 of above steps. Nitrogen cycle, burning, CO2 in atmosphere, plants, algae, cyanobacteria. Photosynthesis, primary consumers, higher level consumers, cellular respiration, detritus, detritivores, soil microbes and others, decomposition, wood and fossil fuels. Nitrogen fixation. The nitrogen molecule, N, is inert. To break it apart so that its atoms can combine with other atoms requires the input of substantial amounts of energy. Three processes are responsible for most of the nitrogen fixation in the biosphere. Atmospheric fixation by lighting, biological fixation by certain microbes, alone or in a symbiotic relationship with plants. Industrial fixation. Atmospheric fixation. The enormous energy of lighting breaks nitrogen molecules and enables their atoms to combine with oxygen in the air, forming nitrogen oxides. These dissolve in rain, forming nitrates that are carried to the earth. Atmospheric nitrogen fixation probably contributes some 5 to 8% of the total nitrogen fixed. Industrial fixation, under great pressure, at a temperature of 600 degrees Celsius, and with the use of catalyst, atmospheric nitrogen and hydrogen, usually derived from natural gas or petroleum, can be combined to form ammonia, NH3. Ammonia can be used directly as fertilizer, but most of it is further processed to urea and ammonium nitrate, NHNO3. Biological fixation. The ability to fix nitrogen is found only in certain bacteria. Some live in a symbiotic relationship with plants of the legume family, LF soybeans, alfalfa. Decay. The proteins made by plants enter and pass through food webs just as carbohydrates do. At each trophic level, their metabolism produces organic nitrogen compounds that return to the environment, chiefly in excretions. The final beneficiaries of these materials are microorganisms of decay. They break down the molecules in excretions and dead organisms into ammonia. Nitrification. Ammonia can be taken up directly by plants, usually through their roots. However, most of the ammonia produced by decay is converted into nitrates. This is accomplished in two steps. Bacteria of the genus Nitrosomonas oxidize NH3 to nitrites, NO2. Bacteria of the genus Nitrosomonas oxidize the nitrites to nitrates, NO3. These two groups of autotrophic bacteria are called nitrifying bacteria, through their activities, which supply them with all their energy needs. Nitrogen is made available to the roots of plants. Soil also contains archaeal microbes, assigned to the crenarchaeota, that convert ammonia to nitrites. While more abundant than the nitrifying bacteria, it remains to be seen whether they play an important role in the nitrogen cycle. Many legumes, in addition to fixing atmospheric nitrogen, also perform nitrification, converting some of their organic nitrogen to nitrites and nitrates. These reach the soil when they shed their leaves. Denitrification. The three processes above remove nitrogen from the atmosphere and pass it to ecosystems. Denitrification reduces nitrogen to nitrogen gas, thus replenishing the atmosphere. Once again, bacteria are the agents. They live deep in soil and in aquatic sediments where conditions are anaerobic. They use nitrates as an alternative to oxygen for the final electron acceptor in their respiration. This is how they close the nitrogen cycle. Food from animals. You have studied that crops are the major source of food, but we get certain foods from animals as well. These foods include milk, honey, eggs, meat and fish. Milk-producing animals. Chief milk animals of our country are cows, buffaloes and goats. Milk is used to prepare a variety of dairy products such as butter, ghee, curd and cheese. Poultry. Poultry animals such as hen, ducks, and turkey provide us eggs. In addition, fish is another important food source. Apart from poultry and fish, there are other animals that provide meat for food. They include goats and sheep. Beekeeping. Bees make honey from nectar which they collect out of flowers. Beekeeping is called apiculture. Beekeepers, or apiarists, keep bees to collect honey and other products of the hive, beeswax, propolis, bee pollen, and royal jelly. Fisheries. A fishery is an area where fish are caught for commercial or recreational purposes. Fisheries can be broadly classified as industrial scale, small scale or artisanal, and recreational. Fish play an important role not only in terms of its use for direct human consumption but also the production of animal feeds, particularly fish meal. About 1/4 of world fish production is used for non-food products, rest being converted into fish meal and fish oil. Eatable marine fish are hilsa, pomfret and mackerel, and freshwater fish are cutler, rohu and common carp. Milk, eggs, honey, fish. Keywords. Horticulture. A very important applied branch of agriculture. Broadcasting. The process of sowing seeds manually in the field. Threshing. The process of separating grain from the plant stalk. Winnowing. The process of separating the grain from the chaff. Weeding. The process of the removal of the weeds from the field. Summary. Agriculture began 10,000 years ago and enabled humans to settle down in one place. The plants which are grown and tended in a field for human consumption are called crop plants or crops. Horticulture deals with the production of vegetables, fruits, flowers and decorative plants. In modern agriculture, step-by-step methods are: preparation of the soil by plowing and leveling it, sowing seeds or plants at the correct depths and correct distances, manuring, either by natural methods or man-made fertilizers. Irrigation is supply of the right amount of water at the right time to sown field. Weeding, which can be carried out manually or by using weedicides. Protection from pests and diseases by spraying pesticides and other chemicals. Harvesting, threshing and winnowing. Storage after drying in the sun to get rid of excess moisture. Crop production can be increased by increasing the land under cultivation, by improving the methods of agriculture, and by developing better varieties of crops by breeding. Hybridization is a technique used for plant breeding in which new varieties with desired characteristics of high yield and resistance to disease are developed. 4 processes participate in the cycling of nitrogen through the biosphere. Nitrogen fixation, decay, nitrification, denitrification. We get milk, honey, eggs and meat from animals for